As usual. Right. Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that too, man. Let me talk about another thing also. You have, Lord willing, I'll get to the Isaiah 29. If I could read the whole chapter, I want to read the chapter. Okay, check this out. You have, I was talking to another person, and I wanted to do this video, and this video I will do at home anyway. So I could just glance over this one, and then jump right up in the Isaiah 29. Okay, so it says right here, right? Because I was talking to a person about Judah. No. What's his name again? Paul being called. First, in one scripture, he says himself he's a Judite, and then in another scripture, he says he's a Benjamite. So what is he? Well, he is actually both to a certain degree, and I can explain that. Let me read it for you first. I know he's Benjamin, but he's a. I'll read it and then I explain it, Lord willing. So Isaiah, because a lot of people get tripped up upon it because they don't understand. Understand this without readers. No. How could I accept some person guide me or something like that, or at least show me the path so I can walk on it? Because that's the mission. That's the main mission upon the planet Earth for me. For example, for me, I'm gonna give you an example of a fact, which is Yahushua said, "You cannot follow me if you don't carry your own cross," right? But sometimes you help another. You help him carry his cross, and you show him how he's supposed to do it. You put it on his shoulder, and you walk about with it and stuff like that. He's so tired and all that type of stuff. Hey man, oh, so that's how you do it. And then you give him a few hints and not hints. That's another word I'm actually looking for. I'm looking for another word. Hints, not hints. I don't know. You explain to him. It's a word I'm looking for. You give him examples. You give him examples on how to do it, right? Tutorials. You give him a tutorial on how to carry the cross himself, and then once he's able to do it, then you hold his beer. I got this. No, he says, I got this. Hold my beer, and then you hold his beer for him. And then you find someone else, and then you go help him with his cross, and then you make sure that he is able to carry his cross upon his own. Just like that saying, which is, I saw this Hamite tripping up upon this word. I laughed straight for about, I think it was like maybe 2 minutes, man. I kept on laughing, man. I kept on replaying it, laughing. But he said he couldn't do it. He got tired in the midst of saying it. So it's the saying of you can give a man a fish every day and feed him, or you can teach a man how to fish and he can feed himself for basically eternity until he dies. So that's what I want to do with the scriptures. You teach a Jacob descendant how to carry that cross by comforting him with these scriptures and all that there, lightening his burden, and then he's going to be resilient toward it. And now when you're not here, he's going to rely on the scriptures that you showed him and all that type of stuff, right? Which is dope. And then you keep it moving. You go to another, and then you keep it hopping. You hip it to the hop. You keep it hip hop. You understand? So Isaiah 21, Acts 21 and 39, which is, and Paul said, "I am a man which am a Jew from Tarsus, the city in Cilicia," which is actually upward with Jacob. It looks like it's Sicilia, but it's not. Like I said, Lord willing, I'm going to do a video and then I'm going to show the map where it is at. A city of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. And then Acts 22 and 3, I am verily a man which am a Judite, born in Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, which was a wise man, by the way, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward Yahweh, as ye all are this day, right? Hey. So it says, Yeah. Okay, so new, now two scriptures he says that he's a Jew. And then you have another scripture where it says, where did I put that? Didn't I put it? I didn't put it. Really? I thought I had it. Yeah. Let me just get it here. So this is Romans 11 and 1. Then I said then, sorry, Paul is talking here. I said then, Yahweh had cast away, what? I said then, had Yahweh cast away his people? Yahweh forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So now, it might look like as if it is a contradiction. Sorry, I'm looking for stuff. Oh, I can get away. Right. So now it looks as if the Bible is contradicting itself. First it says 2 times he's a Jew, and then it says he's a Benjamite. So what are you? Well, if you read the book of 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 26, it says, let me see. No, I don't need to read that. Oh yeah, I do. Actually, I'm just going to go to the point, right? So like I said, Yahweh I'll make a video about this at home with the patience and all that type of stuff, with pictures and all that there. I wanted to do it a few days ago anyway, but I was busy with another video, so didn't do it. Not yet. I'm not into this editing video shit stuff. I just put it up out there. And I noticed that editing a video, it could take a fucking hour, man. Like a 10 minute, 15 minute, 13 minute video, it could take an hour. You know what I'm saying? But then again, I was also reading scriptures and stuff like that, so that's something else. Reading, comparing, and thinking like, should I use this? Nah, I should use this one. Nah, let me make it shorter. I don't give a fuck. I just stretch out the time. If you got the time, it's cool, cat. If you don't, there's other people. I'm not the only one. So that doesn't really matter. But you know, you're still trying to get that explanation out there so that they know. If you don't know, now you know. Huh? Because if you look, you see a television, right? You get the understanding that that is a. Do I see it right there? I know what that is. Anyway, the television, right? You get the understanding that that is a reflection of somebody's aftermath thing. It's just an image of someone. It's not that person. You get the understanding. Cool. But if you actually understand how the television works, it's going to be much different when you look at the television. Yeah, well, that's actually not a good example, but I'll use it anyway. You got these little particles, which they call pixels, upon the television screen, and those all combined work together. It's crazy. It goes on and off continually, thousands of hundreds of thousands of times per second. I don't know even how fast it is, but if the thing moves, if the person does this, well, then all the pixels actually lit up and changed. You know, I don't know how to say it, man. Anyway, it's the pixels that actually form the person. Have you ever seen in the comment section that certain people, they can actually type words or numbers and they can form a so-called face, like a celebrity face, or a person, just a regular person. They can form a face with all these numbers and letters and stuff like that, right? To form a human face or an animal. They can form anything that you can recognize. Well, that's actually what the television does. It's all these numbers and It's actually not numbers, it's lights. But yeah, something like that, man. I don't even know how to explain it. But yeah, let me just leave that, man. And if you understand it, then you can explain it better. That's the point. So if you understand why he called himself a Jew, then you can explain it. And I do the long talking so that you can explain it in shorter times. Because if I want to, I can explain it short too, but I don't want to. I want to explain it at length, Lord willing, deep diving. And then when I'm done, you can now explain it very fast to another person. That's dope. because you understand what the hell is going on, and therefore it's easier for you to be able to to explain it faster, right? Or just say it quick. You might think to yourself like, why don't I then do it quick if you do it quick? I don't want to. I want to go explain stuff. Yeah. And maybe I can't. I don't know. I never thought about it. Anyway, so not never, but I don't want to dwell on it. Let me go on. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 26. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zeradah, yeah, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hands against the king. Solomon built Milo and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. And when the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he was going places, as they say. He was going places, as they say. Actually, not that. He was very good at certain things. He was industrious. I looked up that word. I forgot it right now specifically. I could look it up right here, but I'm not going to. Lord willing, you can do it. But it's industrious. You see it in the you hear it in the name, industry. He's savvy. He's business wise. He knows how to be a keeper of things, like a leader, somebody that you put in the top of your house, make him rule the house when you're gone, basically like that. So Solomon saw that in them, and first going on, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. That's what he did. He put Jeroboam, he put him above the 10 tribes. At that time, there wasn't the 10 tribes. He just put him over the house of Joseph, which is Ephraim and Manasseh. He made him boss over all of them, right? 29. And it came to pass at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilomite found him in the way, and he had clothed himself with a new garment, and they too were alone in the field. So the Most High sent a prophet toward him, like, go talk to a guy over there, meet him, because he's gonna walk here, and then he's gonna come, and then you talk to him, right? And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces. That was the way of Yahweh. 31. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith Yahweh, the power of Israel. Behold, I will rent the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. So there is where it started, right? Because if you read the chapter above, Solomon was sinning, and therefore the Most High raised up 2 enemies toward him. Both of them was Aram, and one from Aram the land, and the other one was Aram the king of Edom. He was there, and I explained that too, and you can read it for yourself. 2 Kings chapter 16. If you read that chapter, you will see that Aram was a king over Edom, and then he went and set up Edom in the land of Edom again, because Judah had taken it over. That's in the book of 1 Kings chapter 9. 1 Kings 9, King Solomon took over the land of Edom, and he set up garrisons there and all that there. And then he set up a navy there to bring in shipment fleet, like a haven where you can bring stuff and stuff like that, gold in this case. He had his navy ship there, but it was in the land of Edom that he occupied. So he took that over for a strategic haven port place. And then later on, because of the sins and stuff like that, he started to lose wars against Aram. And then in 2 Kings 16, Aram took it, and he became the king of Edom. And then he brought back the Edomites in that land, and they stood there to block Judah, because he knew that they hated Judah because of the things that King Solomon did. So they wanted to kill him in the first place. So he put them there, and then he went back to Aram, and he was king there and also king in Edom. And if the Judahites fought against the Edomites, then the Aram would come down with their army and slaughter them. And we wouldn't win because we sinned. And therefore we lost wars. Anyway, so going back to over here, 1 Kings 11:32. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which is chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. And Jerusalem belonged to Benjamin. Joshua 18:28, if I'm correct, or 26. If you read that, you will see the land was given unto Benjamin. Then Benjamin shared Jerusalem with Judah, right? But it's Benjamin's land. And if you read Numbers 27 and Numbers 36, you will see that another tribe is not allowed to take from another tribe their land that has been given unto their forefathers. You know? So, but Judah shared land, and Dan also shared land with Naphtali. Dan was in Naphtali. That's why you get that confusion. In one scripture it says that the woman was a Danite, then the other one says Naphtali and stuff like that. That's actually is the same, because it was the Danites living in Naphtali. So she was a Danite. Anyway, so going on. Right, so excuse me, 33. Because that they have forsaken me. Well, let me jump up. So the point is, he got one tribe, right? So the 10 tribes were given unto Jeroboam, the head of Ephraim, and Manasseh, the head of Ephraim and Manasseh. And then the only one tribe was given unto Judah, which is Benjamin, right? So now, 1 Kings chapter 12. I'm gonna read the rest in the video that I'm gonna do at home, Lord willing, of course. I'll just go to the point. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 19. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. So they fought against them because that was the prophecy that was for prophesied. I wanted to say something else. For written, something like that. It was told before, yeah, that it would happen. So now it happened. Verse 19. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day, and it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, and they sent and called him unto the congregation. And Jeroboam, by the way, if you don't know, in the chapter before, King Solomon wanted to kill him afterward, and then he fled to Mizraim and lived there until King Solomon died. So going on, 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 20. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard, Israel is now talking about the northern tribes, that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Israel, which are the northern tribes. In this chapter, it started to be called Israel and Judah. Here in these chapters, it started in 1 Kings 11, but from 1 Kings 11, 12 and stuff like that, from then on, it started to be separated, you know. Judah is Judah, and Israel is the 10 tribes. I wanted to say Ephraim, but the 10 tribes. Right, and going on, called him to the congregation and made him king over Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. So only the tribe of Judah was actually clinging onto the house of David. The house of David is not everybody. You are only of the house of David if you are of the bloodline of David individually, singly, his household, like Rehoboam. That was the house of David. Solomon is the house of David. Asa is the house of David. And who comes after that? I know, but I forgot. It's in these chapters. 13, 1 Kings 13, 14, 15, 16, you know, and so forth. But yeah, all these were the house of David, right? But the tribe of Judah only. Verse 21. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, which Rehoboam is now the house of David, right? Look, back in the days when I didn't read this for myself, I thought Rehoboam and Jeroboam were actually two brothers. Well, they are, but they're not. Rehoboam is Ephraim, and no, sorry, Jeroboam is Ephraim, and Rehoboam is Judah, right? So it says here 21, and when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, 140,000 chosen men, 140,000 chosen men, which were warriors to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. And therefore, they wanted to bring the kingdom back to the house of David. So again, the house of David is not the 144,000. The house of David is the house of David. Just like how Yahushua is the house of David. Yahushua is not all tribes. He's the bloodline of David. He's not the bloodline of every Judite in existence. There's only one house of David. David. And then you have the other ones that will cling onto the house of David, which are the rest of the tribes. Yeah, even the 12,000 of Judah, right? Well, there's only one house of David, so therefore, if there are David descendants amongst the 12,000 of Judah, then that's something else. But I mean, the 12,000 of Judah, not all 12,000 are going to be the house of David. There are going to be other houses. They might. I believe that there's going to be the house of David in the midst of them. I don't knock that. I do believe that. Yeah. But that's not the point. The point is they're not from the house of David. All of them. That's not how it's going to be. That's not the truth. Anyway, so First Kings 12 and 17. Because look, again, it might look like a contradiction when it says here, First Kings chapter 12 verse, the rest of 20, the end. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. So now when you read the same chapter, First Kings 12 and 17, but as for the children of Israel, which dwelled in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. So let me read it again. So it shows you here that you had other tribes of the northern tribes. They actually stayed with Judah, and they lived amongst them. Because it says right here, verse 20. So 1 Kings 12 and 17. Sorry, not 20. 1 Kings 12 and 17. But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. So that's the distinction. Rehoboam is the house of Judah. The house of David, sorry. Which comes from the house of Judah. But I mean, actually the house of David. And then the house of Israel were the 10 tribes, right? So I have a few precepts on that, which is 1 Chronicles 9 and 3. And in Jerusalem dwelled the children of Judah, and the children of Benjamin, and the children of Ephraim, and Manasseh. So, of the northern tribes, you had a few Ephraimites that were living with Judah, Benjamin, right? And you had Manassites that was also living with Judah and Benjamin, right? And then I'm going to go to another precept, which is Luke 2 and 36. And there was one, Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Penuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age and had lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity. So, again here in the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 36, it explains to you that the tribe of Asher was also in the midst of Judah and Benjamin that were called the kingdom of Judah, right? So now I hope you get the picture why he said, I am a Judite. There's another worldly explanation for that, which I often say, but this is the scriptural explanation, because my worldly explanation is this. If you see a so-called black person from America, and another one from Europe, another one from Australia, another one from South America, another one from Africa, West Africa, a Jacob descendant, another one from Asia, and they all work together, people are not going to actually individually call off your countries. They're going to say, oh, it's a bunch of Africans. Well, that's the same thing with the Judites. They saw Benjamin, Levi, and stuff like that, and of course, Manasseh, and Ephraim, they just called them Jews, man. It was like, oh, a bunch of Africans. But that's what they're doing now. That's the worldly explanation. But in this case, you can now understand why they call themselves the kingdom, why Paul called themselves a Jew, because he was part of the kingdom of Judah. But I have a few more precepts, which is 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 13. It says, and the priests and the Levites, now it is a distinction again, the priests and the Levites, because all Levites, all priests were Levites, but not all Levites were priests. That is the law. 1 Chronicles 24. It begins there, Numbers chapter 3, Numbers 18. Those all explain that only and only the bloodline of Aaron are allowed to be priests and no one else. And if you do, you might die. That's in the book of Ezra 2, and also in the book of Numbers chapter 1, and also in the book of Ezra, 1 Ezra chapter 5. Yeah. That's why they were put away from the priesthood, because they couldn't tell whether they were of Israel. But if you read the verse above, they were Levites. Not all of them, but they were Levites. But they couldn't tell if they were the sons of Aaron or not, because there was a confusion going on, because it was not been taught unto them for 70 years. And a lot can happen in 70 years. Look at rock and roll. It turned white. It turned them. Like, what the fuck? I didn't know. I saw them, making songs like, Hail Satan, do. Bullshit like that. That's the type of songs that they was playing. I didn't know. I found out though. But that's what can happen in 70 years. Look at the country music. Oh, it changed, boy. 70 years. It changed fast also. So vast and fast. Like speedily and largely, you know what I'm saying? Both of them. It changed within the 70 years span. By the time that I heard of it, I was like, what? I saw Bon Jovi and shit like that. I thought that was their music. That's why the thing used to sound dope back in the days. But a lot of people might say like, oh, that's good music, might be a jig. It's not fucking jig. What they were doing, if you watch this documentary, they sold their soul for rock and roll. The guys, man, it's multiple motherfuckers of them. Multiple people of them said, that's not me. That is not me, bro. What? The guy said it himself, man. Well, ain't nobody coming to somebody else's word. He was telling you, I can't do that on my own. He said like, yo, I remember this one guy, he said, and he's a famous person too. I forgot his name, man. I'm not good with that shit. I forgot his name, but I know his face. So he said, there's multiple of them, but I'm quoting one right now. He said that, he was up at night one time and he did his little satanic little shit. And then something came on him, he said. And then he wrote that thing in a few minutes. And that became the hit. And he said, I didn't write that. I took the pen and it started. And it was a hit. It was a smash hit. And another guy said, because the interviewer was pressing him, like, hey, so where you get that thing from? Then he said, I got it from the chief commander. And then the interviewer said, what are you talking about? He said, you know what I'm talking about. The chief guy, the top guy. I got it from him. And that was it. That was it. He's talking about Zadie. That's the man that gave him that shit. They selling their souls. So when you hear their music, it sounds beautiful. Like, hey man, that shit's actually dope. That's not him. That's an angel. That's an angel making that music. Other people, they explain to you that when they're on stage, all of a sudden something comes on them and they can sing. And when they're done, and then it goes off of them and then they can't sing no more. That's the spirit. So the thing that you find beautiful, the thing that I find beautiful, I thought so, like back in the days of rock and roll from these Edomites, a few of them were dope. They can't do that shit no more. It's garbage now. It's some devil shit. But then again, the daughters of music did fall. So I understand that. But still, I heard a few. I've heard a few. It's kind of catchy beat, yeah, whatever. But once they go too deep in that nonsense, it's too much noise for me. It's noise. If they keep it calm, I could like it. You know? It sounds like speeded up blues, because that's what rock and roll is. Rock and roll is actually sped up blues. That's what it is. It's blues sped up. Because Michael also said it. He said, I don't want the music to be slow. I want it to be fast. One of the reasons, because it was explained by another man. One of the reasons is why, because the Edomites were copying the slow music. They hated it, and they were stealing their stuff. So they started to fasten the music, and then they couldn't dance to it no more. So they hated it. And then Elvis came, and then like Richard, no, not Richard. He's blind. He plays the piano. I forgot his name. He said that the populace started to like rock and roll when Elvis came on the scene. But he was making nothing more than black music. But then they started to like rock and roll because they hated it. But a small portion of them, they would come to see the Jacob Descendants play. They would come to see the Jacob Descendants play and all that type of stuff. Music. Because it's like, for example, you see the Koreans, right? They hate your guts, but they will watch your shit to steal, and then just steal your shit and then bring it to the Caucasus people so that they can find it beautiful, and then they will be honored. Like, see, I bring the beautiful music. Well, you have a lot of these Edomites that did that, but you had other Edomites that didn't do it. They just wanted to listen to black so-called music. But anyway, then the majority of them, they started to mock us. If you type in this word minstrel, minstrel, and you click images, look how I spelt it, minstrel, and you click images, then you will see it, right? Minstrel. I'm not kidding you. This is what they did. So they hated it so much because we're the only ones that made music like that, and they didn't. So now they mockingly dressed up like us, and then they started to play the music. It was fucking bullshit, but people came because they wanted to see the black people, but they hated you so much, like they didn't want to give you the shine. For example, there's so much great music from Jacob Descendants in West Africa and here in Europe, right? You don't hear it. Why? Because the Edomites here are different than the ones in America. The ones in America are consumed beyond imagination by greed. These ones too, they're devils. These ones are the sneaky, I hate you, don't want to see you anything, even if I suffer, just to let you suffer beneath me, right? So the ones in America was like, yo, we're gonna make some money on these motherfuckers. But the populace, the Edomites, they didn't want that shit, man. They was coming to, KKK was coming to Jimi Hendrix shows, what's his name again? James Brown. They was coming to all the Jacob Descendants that was playing music and stuff like that. They either wanted to snuff them out, hang them upside down, well, by the neck actually. They wanted to kill them. They wanted to murder them. But the other Edomites, there was no, stay away from my property. This is my property. He makes me fucking millions, man. Who the fuck are you to come stop me, man? Oh, you stupid? And they started to make laws and arrest the shit out of them because they want to make money. But the ones here in Europe and stuff like that, they're not that, how you say it? They rather stay broke so that you stay broker. Because, but the ones in America, they sniff out the talent. They be like, we're gonna milk this mother. They're gonna shear you like a sheep, and they're gonna continually make money off of your wool, and you ain't getting none. You in the cold. Hey man, can I have my jacket back, man, please? Oh, look at the sheep walker. Hey, send them a wolf, and then they eat you. You know what I'm saying? They eat you. They did that to Sam Cooke. They sheared him first, and then afterward he wanted the copyrights and stuff like that. Well, he died that day. That's why the song, if I'm correct, is Sam Cooke. If I'm correct, it was that song. He started whistling at the end of the track. That's what they do. They snuff you out, and I remember this guy. He's an economic hitman. He said the mannerisms that we use to kill people is plane crash. We kill you. Plane crash. So Aliyah, I don't know what happened to her, and Sam Cooke, of course. One of them that died in a plane crash. You got this guy from the and it was slow too, and then they sped it up too, because in the beginning it was like you could sing along, right? But then once he start playing on stage and in live, he sped it up. So it tripped him up. Hey, wait, we can't steal this. But anyway, so they did it too. Issachar did it too. They sped up the music, but it was a thing that Michael said, but somebody else said it before him. And I think that is what Michael was doing, because he said it, but he didn't say it in a racist way because it's Michael. You know, he's not gonna say it like that. But I know what he said, man. I'm not that stupid. I'm not that smart neither. But I know what he said. I know he didn't say what I say, but like I said, I know, because I think it was Muddy Waters that said it, or someone else, man. I don't know. I saw it, and I remember the part what he said, and the rest is blurry. So going back to where I'm supposed to be, which is 2 Chronicles chapter 11 verse 13. And the priests and the Levites that were in all Israel, they were all amongst the 12 tribes, resorted to him out of all their coasts. For the Levites and their suburbs and their possessions, for the Levites left their suburbs and their possessions and came to Judah and Jerusalem, which is Benjamin, for Jeroboam and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office. Okay, let me get a quick precept here too. 2 Chronicles 11 and 14. For the Levites left their suburbs and their I already read that. Verse 15. And he ordained him priests for the high places, and for the devils, and for the calves which he had made. And after them out of all Israel, and after them out of all the tribes of Israel, such as set their heart to seek Yahweh, the power of Israel, came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto Yahweh the power of their fathers. So let me read it again. It says, 1 Chronicles. What the fuck? So basically, I'm talking about the reason why Paul called himself a Judite, and then later called himself a Benjamite. That's because he's from the kingdom of Judah, but he's from the tribe of Benjamin. So, let me read it again. 2 Chronicles, Yeah, 2 Chronicles 11 and 16. And after them, out of all the tribes of Israel, which are the northern tribes now, such as set their hearts to seek Yahweh, the power of Israel, came to Jerusalem, because the temple of King Solomon was there. The temple of King Solomon was there, and therefore they went there, because the temple of Yahweh was there. The temple that housed the Ark of the Covenant, I should say. So it says here, such as set their hearts to seek Yahweh, the power of Israel, came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto Yahweh the power of their fathers. So what am I saying here collectively? I'm saying that you had in the kingdom of Judah, you had Ephraim, Manasseh, Asher. You might have had other tribes, but I can't prove it to you. I can only think. It's possible, because it says out of all the tribes. I said it right here. It says right here, 2 Chronicles chapter 11 verse 16. And after them, so after the Levites went away from amongst the 10 tribes, out of all the tribes of Israel, that means the 10 tribes, right? Such as set their heart to seek Yahweh, the power of Israel, came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto Yahweh the power of their fathers. So what did they do? They left Ephraim. They left the 10 tribes, and then they came to Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and that dwelt there. And that was documented Ephraim, Manasseh, and Asher, but the other tribes also, the other ones, that are not mentioned individually, they also came and lived in the midst of Judah. So the point is to show you that not all the people, not 100%, I should say, the big bulk majority of them, but not 100% of the kingdom of Judah was only Judah and Benjamin and Levi. It was actually the other ones too, but they were so small that it's not really mentioned like that individually. Only if you read the scriptures, then you would figure it out. Like, oh, okay, so the ones that went in the catalog. I'm gonna give you an example, right? They speak about the Caribbeans and all that type of stuff, right? But I'm gonna give you, for example, this. When they came, when the Spaniards and the Portuguese, when the Portuguese came, then the Spaniards, when they came to America, they started to change the whole language of the entire continent of South America. Every one of them spoke Spanish. Every one of them, Spanish, Portuguese, whatever the fuck. Fuck them all. They spoke Roman. All of them spoke Roman Latin. That's their fucking language, right? And then 200 years later, so 1492 until 1619, something, 200 years later, whatever, right? Then they gathered the Moors from here. They were in Germany too, but I'm gonna just keep it simple. They gathered the Moors from Spain and Portugal because we were there. And like I said, we were in France, we were in England, we were in Russia. They didn't catch the ones in Russia because those ones stayed in power until the 1800s. I've seen pictures. This was before the AI bullshit. Now you can fake those pictures. You can make it look as if it was old and it was done. Man, there's some crazy fucking shit that they. That's why they're the devil. They're the deceivers. They're coming up with these fancy miracles and all that type of stuff. Which these are just miracles of visibility, which you can see, but they will come with the physical miracles, making people walk again, making people see with their technology and all that type of stuff, which will be something unbelievable. Because listen, if you go back in the days and you bring a telephone and you take a picture of someone, if they're gonna burn your ass at the stake like a fucking witch, because they're gonna tell, what the fuck, this guy trapped my soul up in his picture thing. We're gonna kill him today. You're gonna die today. And you're gonna die today because they're gonna set your ass on fire. They're gonna do something to you because it's witchcraft. If you was to bring it to the people in the old days, they would say, what the fuck? Hey man, they're gonna harm you, they're gonna harm you. So basically that's because they would think that you're a witch, and it is witchcraft. So there's miracles, right? They're gonna set your ass on fire. So that's what he's doing. He's doing miracles with that technology. But nowadays, you think, oh, there's nothing. If you lock a person up in the 80s and you let him free now, he would think he's in another planet. He sees TikTok and all these crazy things. He don't know where the fuck he is. I've seen people like that. I've seen people come out of jail like 50 years later, and they have no idea what the fuck. Man, I saw this guy. He committed the crime just to get back up in the jail because he couldn't handle the pace that was. He couldn't handle it, and then he wanted to lay himself to rest. So he robbed some place and then stood there until the cops came and locked him up. He practically didn't even do anything, but he threatened them, and he was already not. I think it was in probation. I don't know, man. But he wanted to go back. And he went back, and then he could lay his head to rest, something like that. He said, because it's too hectic out here. He said he get fed, and if I find the article, I'll put it. It's a video, I think. It's a few stories, not just one. Yeah, going back to where I was actually, which is yeah, so you had Judah, Benjamin, and Levi and stuff like that. You had them up in the kingdom of Judah, loosely. Zechariah 11:14. Then I cut asunder mine staff. Oh, sorry. Then I cut asunder my other staff, the other stability. Even bands, because we used to be a band of brothers, right? That I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. Oh yeah, I was talking about the thing. Sorry. Back to the story. Forgot about it. Yeah. So in the 1400 they came to South America and stuff like that, and they programmed everybody to speak their language, right? And then came the Moors, which are Israelites. They came from well, they didn't do forced. They was forced. They came from Portugal, Spain. They came from other places too, but I'll leave that. That was you know, a little here and there. And like I said, in the 1800s, you still had Jacob descendants ruling in Europe. You still had. I'm not kidding. They still was ruling. So they didn't grab all of them, you know, the big bulk of them. The big bulk of them came from West Africa. And then you had a other bulk of them came from Spain and Portugal, because they transferred themselves to Islam in that time. And then you had a few from Germany, you had the Germanics, you had a few from England and stuff like that, Ireland, all that there. And then they brought them over there. And they spoke English. You know why? Because they wasn't occupied by the conquistadors. They was occupied by English. And then, you know, the French, and then the Dutch. Yeah, French, Dutch, English. Those are the ones that got only 3 parts in the north of South America. Those are the only 3 countries that don't speak Latin. I can't understand nothing you say. And they can't understand me neither. So like I said, those are the 3 countries that came late. Well, not countries, I should say. Those are the slaves that came from West Africa and from Spain, Portugal, Spain. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that speak English. Those are the ones that speak Dutch. And those are the ones that speak French. Because it was the French that brought them, the English that brought them, and stuff like that. The Spanish came and they saw them already here. It was Moors. They call them Caribbean Moors. The Dutch call them Caribbean Moors. I'm looking at the statue, trying to find the statue. It's not here. It's actually in that other street over there, actually. Yeah. But yeah, they call them Caribbean Moors. And they went over. I have pictures. I have books. You can see it. Like, no, that's real. Germany. If you type in Germany, Caribbean Moor, or Moor statue, or Moor Indian statue, Germany has a lot of statues all over Germany. Not all over. In the cities. Because in the other places they don't have it. They put it in the cities because the elites, they want to have a remember, you know, like a serial, you know, serial killer that then wants to have his trophies. So then he puts little trinkets there to remind him of, oh, I used to dig in her bones with a knife. Oh, that felt so good. Because he wants to relive that shit. That's why they have all these statues all over the place and all that type of stuff. But like in 1984, basically what they're doing is they're rewriting history. So they already rewrote it, but now they're rewriting it. So they take away them statues, which is kind of irritating. That's why I don't want them to take away the racist Black Pete feast days that they have here in the Netherlands, because every year I feel that joy of rage. It feels good because I'm boy. It feels it. Boy, that hatred comes in my soul like God. God. Boy, it feels good. Heavenly Father, because if I'm not angry, I don't want to kill you. I need to be really angry. Heavenly Father, I keep on seeing it every day, every year. Lava. It fuels me. That's beautiful. I want that. But they want to stop it. I don't want that shit to stop. I want that hatred. But then again, the Heavenly Father did say, like, according to mine anger and according to my fury. That's how I'm going to talk to you, Esau. So, if you get that spiritual power, it's not going to be your anger in the first place. It's going to be the Most High. I understand that, but I still want to be angry. It feels good. I hate them. But anyway, I don't want to be their friend. Love not this world, but I don't love you. I don't love none of you. For real. And I don't want to. It's weird. Don't feel good. It's not normal. Why trimmest thou that way to seek love? I'm not doing that. I never did that. You know, I love my own. For a big part. Not the majority. I just don't. Because I look at them like, get the fuck out of here. Okay, so basically that is the reason why I didn't even make it to Isaiah 29. Lord willing, I'll write it down that I need to talk about it next week, Lord willing. You know, you need to have fun in this. If you don't, then pray the Lord that you do. How about that? Don't give up now. You know? You have to understand, this is for you. It's not for someone else. It's for your sake. Well, I mean for your own sake, you know? But with the teachings, that's for someone else. Like I said, you help another carry that cross, and once he carried that cross, he can kind of walk up on his own. Then you get to step in, like, I got this. No, you got this. You got this. Let me hold your beer. Right. Right. Moving on. Okay, so enough of that, and then I can go back to Acts 21:39. But Paul said, I am a man which am a man. Oh, sorry. I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus. That's what it means when he says a Jew. He's talking about he's from the kingdom of Judah. Right? The others didn't really call themselves Jews too, like that, you know, because I don't know why. I don't know, you know, but they didn't. They didn't, and because they're not. And Paul is not neither. He's a Benjamite. He said it to basically specify himself as I'm not Judah. Huh? But you just said you are. I am. Oh, what? What's this guy talking about? Nah, and then somebody comes on the side, you know, like in that movie Menace to Society back in the days. You had that thing, message, you know, almost like toasty, like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, right? And then you had that message guy coming, and he says like, yeah, and then he explains it and stuff like that, and then therefore afterward it's cool, man. And then after that you how you say the thing, you would understand because he explained it to you. But anyway, y'all already this out. I'm gonna wrap it up right now. Cool, man. I'm gonna wrap it up right now because how long? Yeah. Yeah, alright. This like I said, I'm gonna make this video and put it on the what the fuck am I saying? I'll put it online in a house video and stuff like that. You know. But this one up, I'll finish the rest there. Well, I'm already finished, but I'm gonna make another video, and then I'm gonna go over all the scriptures that I actually had that I didn't want to say here because it was too much. And even then, even how I shorted it off, it still went on. So I'm gonna just do it in the house, and how I write this out, I'm gonna do the Isaiah 29 next week. Oh yeah, I forgot to write that down. Damn. Before I stand here next week talking about, what was I supposed to do again? Oh yeah, I did write it down. Damn. I didn't even notice that. Oh yeah. That went autopilot. I wrote it down without me seeing that I didn't even pay attention. I wrote it down in my fancy agenda. It's just a notepad. It's not a alarm agenda thing. I got that too, but I didn't do that. So with that, I'm gonna give all praises to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshua, Ba'ashem Ravah Kodash, double honor and son to the elder apostles and great millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. And shalom to the sincere. Shalom. I want to say Akyam, but I'd be like, well, I saw a few Jacob descendant daughters, so I was like, Anyway, so I'm gonna say shalom to the sincere. Shalom. Yeah. Let me say.